Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pinkham, where it's been a busy few weeks with Norwich City already signing 6 new players this summer. One of them is Vladan Kovacevic, who they've brought in as their new number one goalkeeper for £2 million, initially from Sporting Lisbon, of course, with the potential for that to increase as a result of add-ons. I'm delighted to be joined by Wojciech Piela, a Polish football expert, who's going to tell us all about Kovacevic and his time in Poland. Of course, he sort of came through there, first of all at Rakov Częstochowa, where he really was put on the map, and then went back to Legia Warsaw on loan last season to cap off what was quite a miserable spell at Sporting. But first of all, Wojciech, how are you? How are you today? Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, everything's fine. Really pleasure to join. Honestly, I didn't have an occasion so much during my life to make an interview in English. So first of all, sorry for my English. It will be necessary. But in terms of Vladan, I think that it's interesting signing for Norwich City, and during his time at Rakov Częstochowa, especially, he was considered one of the best goalkeepers in Polish Ekstraklasa. Even he won 2 times the award for the best goalkeeper, also in the season when Rakov won the championship, because he was a champion of Poland. He played in Rakov Częstochowa in Europa League group stage. He was very, very good in the games, especially versus Sporting Lisbon or Sturm Graz, when Rakov won versus Sturm Graz, and also made a draw versus Sporting Lisbon. And due to that fine games also in European football, Sporting bought him before the last season, and they considered him also one of the goalkeepers which could maybe be a number one, and he started as a number one during Ruben Amorim spell, and later it was not very good for him because Franco Israeli, Uruguayan goalkeeper, came back from the Copa America. He won his place, and later Vladan was a backup for him. Also, Sporting bought another goalkeeper from Betis, I think Rui Silva, during winter window. So that made him a decision to come back to Poland and join Legia, also one of the biggest clubs in Ekstraklasa. Even it's not maybe the biggest one, because so he played the European Cups in Europa Conference League, but this period in Legia, as you said, is not so good as in Legia and as in Rakov Częstochowa before. He started to play at the beginning, but he made some mistakes, especially due to his lack of confidence, let's say, in the positioning in front of the goal line. Maybe in terms of crossing, in terms of even throw-ins, because Legia conceded some goals due to the throw-ins because of his mistakes. And later he was on the bench. He made I think in 1 month, in one last month, or maybe 2 months, only 2 appearances, but it was 2 appearances important, which has big importance, because one of them was versus Chelsea in Conference League in Stamford Bridge, when Legia won sensationally 2-1, and in that game he made some crucial saves. And later, when Legia lost versus Lech Poznań, also big game in Poland. Lech Poznań was won the championship last season, and in that game he didn't have so much work, but Legia lost this game. And later, in the remaining games, Kasper Tobiasz, another goalkeeper, was the number one. So in general, I think the Vladan in Norwich could be good choice, but I think that also he has to be maybe he had to recovery also mentally after this period. I think also in Rakov Częstochowa there was a coach who put many instructions to him, also put many instructions to defense. So he knew exactly what he has doing, what he has to do during the games, and I think that it's a kind of goalkeeper which has to have this good instructions. So we'll see what will happen, but maybe in Norwich it could be very, very nice choice.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that time originally at Rakov, and you mentioned he won the sort of top goalkeeper award a couple of times. I mean, just give us a sense of how well thought of he was in Poland. Was he sort of generally seen as one of the best goalkeepers in the league?
Yeah, of course. I think that his reflex was excellent. Also, his confidence during the time at Rakow and his cooperation with defenders. Yeah, as I said, also the coaches had a very good relationship with him. He was a player which easily could made his instructions and put the words of the coaches to the pitch, because also Raków Częstochowa was a team, is a team still, that even the goalkeeper position is a very tactical, and Vladan could make it on a higher level, and because of him also Raków won the championship, which was a very great success for them. First time in history, Raków won the championship of Poland, and Vladan was a goalkeeper, the best goalkeeper in Ekstraklasa 2 times, and later in Europa League also, when the Raków had to also be very tactical team. Also some maybe during the games versus Atalanta or Sporting, also so they had to work so much in defense, and Vladan also not made many mistakes during this time, and I think because of that Sporting bought him, and we all know how big is Sporting in Portugal. Of course, in Lisbon he had to fight about his place, but at the beginning, at the start, nobody can tell that Vladan couldn't be the number one. He started when the Franco-Israel couldn't play, and I think that maybe only because of his mistakes, also because he made some mistakes also in the game versus Porto. I remember in the Super Cup of Portugal, he couldn't won that place, and maybe later when he came back to Ekstraklasa, when he joined Legia, maybe it was a little mentally problem, because he wanted to prove Sporting wrong. He wanted
Yeah.
so much to prove them wrong, and because of that, that mistakes also at Legia happened. And despite the fact that Gonzalo Feio was a coach in Legia, Gonzalo Feio is a person who knew Vladan so much of the time in Raków, because
Yeah.
the Fejo was an assistant manager in Raków Częstochowa when Vladan played that, and in Legia he wanted to take Vladan because of problems with goalkeepers. So he has that support of the coach, but his mistakes made him also later on the bench again. So
Yeah.
I think that now he need to recovery mentally and physically maybe a little bit. But if Norwich will be able to do that, I think that it could be a very nice goalkeeper in terms of championship standards.
Indeed. And in terms of sort of his strengths and weaknesses, I mean, what stands out in his game, and what would you say has been maybe more of a problem for him?
Uh, yeah. I think that he could be a nice. He could make a nice cooperation with another defenders if the uh, coach of goalkeeping coach could work with him very well. Of course, it won't be easy, because there will be only now the preparation period, some maybe friendly games, and
Yeah.
maybe because of that at the beginning it could be not ideal choice. But if Norwich will put faith on him, and even give him a second, maybe third chance, something when he made one of two mistakes, later he could pay off of that fate, and also he could be the goalkeeper which can help Norwich win some games when the games didn't don't go very well. So yeah, this cooperation with other defenders and also
Yeah,
his reflexes could be very nice. A little bit weakness in terms of his period of Legia was the playing in front of the goal, the playing
yeah,
with the crosses. Uh, but I'm not sure it's because of his lack of skills, but maybe it's lack of confidence, and
yeah.
also I suppose that if he could work mentally about that, also in terms of that, it could be not very big problems.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that you think Norwich might have a good goalkeeper on their hands, and I wanted to ask you about sort of what they've paid for him. Obviously, a £2 million initial fee. Having seen him at his best and probably also his worst at first of all Rakov and then Legia, do you think that's quite a good deal for Norwich to have been able to pick him up at this point in his career and only pay £2 million, or does that sound about right to you?
I think it's not a bad deal. I remember that Sporting paid to Rako. It's about 4 millions, maybe
Yeah,
even a bigger price. So that shows that if Vladan could play very good football and also could uh, be in Norwich as good as he was in Rako,
yeah,
maybe the price could go higher, and maybe I don't know if Norwich want to do this, but if Norwich want to sell him in 2026, 27, maybe also he maybe Norwich receive some good offers from another clubs. It could be a bigger
yeah.
offer in the level, I think 4 million on 5 million maybe. So I think that it's a good deal, not bad deal, but of course it all depends on that if Vladan could play regularly and not making such bigger mistakes as in Legia, because in Legia at the beginning it was goalkeeper. When I look at his games, and I couldn't recognize him.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember him from the period in Rako, and I thought, wow, it's not the same Vladan. But for example, in the game versus Chelsea, when it was big surprise that he played, because the Kasper Tobias didn't make an injury. Also, that was some rumors that he played at Stamford Bridge because of good relationship with Feo, and Feo wanted him to put in the first 11 because of his hard situation on transfer market, and we will see that
yeah,
maybe it helped, because he played
yeah.
very good game at the English, one of the biggest venues, and now Norwich took him. But I think that Norwich took him, and I suppose that the scouts of Norwich not took him because only of that one game, but they remember his period from Rako, uh, and I think that if it will be Vladan Kovacevic in Norwich from the Rako period, it could be nice deal.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to finish with Ante Ciernats, and that's probably a good way to
Yeah.
lead on to it. As you mentioned, I'm sure Norwich scouts have mostly based their decision on his format at Rakov, and they would have been watching at the same time Ciernats when he was sort of hitting his peak. So I just wanted to quickly ask you, as somebody who obviously has seen Ciernats in quite close quarters, what sort of talent you see there, and what you've made of maybe his time in England so far. It feels to me like he's sort of getting used to it, but obviously there's a bit of an adaptation period in there as well.
Yeah, of course. I think that it's similar as in Raku, because at the beginning it wasn't look so good for Ante, but I think that he shows his flexibility. He shows his good skills. He showed in Raku good skills, his flexibility, because the position of the striker in Raku Częstochowa is a very specific position, because the coaches don't expect from the striker only scoring goals, but
Yeah,
also big work in the defense. Sometimes during the build up, and also they expect from the strikers to move off the ball so much, and I think that Ante could play good as a striker who scored some goals, because he scored in Rakow. I think 11 goals in the Ekstraklasa, but also he showed his ability to cooperation with the midfielders, with the wingers. So, and also he's very young still. Yeah, his age is a little bit over 20, 21. So I think that
21,
even we talked about maybe the Kovacevic deal, is he good or no? But I think that Crnac deal could be even better for Norwich in terms of future, if he plays 2-3 good seasons in the championship, especially due to his age. I think it could be maybe the deal also, when the offer came to Norwich, even more than 10 million pounds, let's say. So I think that it could be also helpful for Vladan to have Ante Crnac, so his former teammate from Raków, now in the changing room, in terms of that situation which I'm talked about, of his mental health and his recovery during this time. At the beginning it could be easier, because of course he will have to know his defenders. Ante's not a defender, but I think the Ante could maybe be some player to join Vladan to the group, to help him at the beginning, and it could be really useful.
Indeed, and I think we're all interested to see how that partnership works at Norwich. It's clearly a market that they're looking at, the Polish league, having gone to it twice in the last year or so. So, if there are any Norwich fans who want to see any more of your work, or are maybe looking for a Polish football expert the next time they go into the market, where can they find your work, Wojciech?
I recommend, and I invite you to my Twitter account. I'm also write many things in Polish, but maybe if you click the translate button, it could be useful. I also worked some years before close to the Premier League football, because I worked in the Viaplay Poland, which was a broadcaster of Premier League. So also I am writing some things about English football, because I'm very passionate about that. But as we see, Norwich has a good scouts in Poland, so I invite you to my account, and I will write also very often about the Polish players, about Ekstraklasa players, and we'll see, maybe some of them will join Norwich again in the future.
Indeed, let's hope so. Thanks very much for joining me, Wojciech. Thanks everyone who's
Thank you,
watched
Sam.
this. Of course, thepinkun.com is the place to go for more Norwich City coverage, with, I'm sure, plenty more transfers to come this summer. Thanks everyone. See you soon.